Singapore consumes 440 million gallons of water every single day, and that demand is expected to double by 2065, with businesses and industries driving 2/3 of it. For a country ranked among the most water-stressed in the world, that is a serious challenge we cannot ignore. I am Teresa, and today we are going to explore practical water management strategies for small and medium enterprises. You will learn how to measure, understand, and reduce water consumption in real workplace settings. Let us get started. Let me set the scene for why water management is so critical, especially in Singapore's context. Singapore consumes around 440 million gallons of water every single day, and that demand is projected to double by 2065, with 2/3 of that future demand coming from the non-domestic sector, meaning industry and commerce. That is a serious engineering and resource planning challenge. PUB, Singapore's national water agency, supplies two types of water to businesses. First, potable water, treated to drinking standard and priced to recover full supply costs. The non-domestic rate moved from $2.74 per cubic meter before April 2024 to $2.94, and then to $3.24 from April 2025. These revisions are deliberate signals to drive conservation behavior. Second, NE-water, high-grade reclaimed water for non-potable industrial uses, like cooling towers, process water, and general washing. It is priced lower than potable water, which incentivizes industries to switch wherever possible. All new non-domestic developments with cooling towers must now include a dedicated NE-water pipe system from the construction stage. Your water bill is actually made up of three components: the water tariff, covering supply costs; the water conservation tax, encouraging responsible use; and the waterborne tax, funding used water treatment. Understanding these components is the foundation for everything we cover in this topic. Effective water management is not just an environmental responsibility. It directly impacts a business's bottom line and reputation. When companies invest in water-efficient technologies and practices, they reduce overall consumption, which translates into lower utility bills. This is especially relevant now, given Singapore's recent upward revisions to water prices in 2024 and 2025. Beyond cost savings, businesses that demonstrate strong water stewardship build credibility with sustainability-conscious consumers and investors, and may even earn recognition through prestigious platforms like the Singapore Watermark Awards. Now we move into the measurement stage, and the very first step is simply knowing how much water your business actually uses. Think of it like managing your finances. You cannot budget what you have not tracked. Start by installing water meters at key points throughout your premises. This gives you granular visibility into consumption, helping you identify exactly which processes or areas are drawing the most water. Pair that with routine reviews of your water bills. Sudden spikes in usage often signal leaks or equipment inefficiencies that would otherwise go unnoticed until the damage and the cost adds up significantly. For businesses with heavier water usage, a water balance chart becomes an essential engineering tool. The core principle is straightforward. Total water input to the boundary must equal total water output of the boundary. This mass balance approach lets you visualize every input: municipal supply, rainwater harvesting, and every output: manufacturing processes, cooling systems, evaporation losses. From that complete picture, you can identify where consumption is highest, where losses may be occurring, and where intervention will deliver the greatest savings. Updating the chart regularly also means you can track whether operational changes or infrastructure upgrades are genuinely making a difference over time, turning measurement into a continuous improvement cycle. Once you have committed to measuring water use, the first practical task is building your baseline. You do this by collecting meter readings or water bills, organizing them into a spreadsheet, and calculating total annual consumption for your base year. That baseline becomes your reference point. Think of it like your starting weight before a fitness program. Every future reading is compared against it. The key data types to track are total consumption, total discharged, total recycled, and your water recycling rate. Together, these give you a complete picture of where water is going. Step 3 is about spotting abnormalities. Review your monthly data carefully. A sudden spike in consumption could mean a leak, a faulty fitting, or a process change. Compare against the previous year to catch gradual drifts that might otherwise go unnoticed. Now, in Singapore, PUB sets mandatory requirements that directly affect your baseline strategy. There are maximum allowable flow rates at water fittings to prevent excessive flow. Under the Water Efficiency Labeling Scheme, or WELS, any new development or renovation must install fittings rated at least 2 ticks. And if your facility consumes 60,000 cubic meters or more annually, you fall under the Water Efficiency Management Practices requirements, meaning you must notify PUB, install private meters, submit annual efficiency plans, and appoint a water efficiency manager. These are legal obligations, not optional best practices. Now we move into the action stage of water management, and this is where we actually commit to measurable goals. There are 2 categories of targets you need to understand: absolute targets and intensity targets. Absolute targets look at raw numbers. Absolute water consumption is simply the total volume of water used, tracked through your water meter and bills. This helps you spot unusual spikes, detect leaks, and understand usage patterns over time. Water discharged covers all effluents and released water. This matters for regulatory compliance and minimizing environmental impact. Intensity targets are more nuanced. The Water Efficiency Index, or WEI, tells you how much water is consumed per unit of business activity, whether that is gross floor area, revenue, or units produced. Think of it like fuel efficiency in a car, not just how much fuel you used, but how far you traveled per liter. This makes comparisons across organizations and against sector benchmarks meaningful and fair. Then there is the recycling rate, the ratio of water reused against total water demand. For industries like front-end wafer fabrication, electronics, biomedical, and pharmaceutical, a minimum 50% recycling rate is mandatory under the mandatory recycling requirement. Worth noting, PUB has developed sectoral benchmarks across hotels, offices, retail, data centers, and more, so you always have a reference point when setting your targets. Now we look at the action stage specifically for premises owners, businesses that own the physical space they operate in. This gives you the most control because you can make both equipment upgrades and operational changes. For general washing, think about reusing equipment cleaning water, installing water-saving tap fittings, harvesting rainwater for toilet flushing, and switching to high-pressure jets, which actually clean more effectively using less water overall. For cooling towers, the focus is on substituting potable water with alternative sources, like rainwater or air conditioning condensate. You also want to optimize your cycle of concentration. This means running the cooling tower through more cycles before draining, which reduces how much makeup water you need to add. Routine maintenance ensures no water is lost through leaks or imbalanced basin levels. For irrigation, installing timers for automated watering prevents over-irrigation, and harvested rainwater with basic filtration is perfectly suitable for landscape use. Across all 3 areas, the operational side matters just as much as the hardware. Forming a water conservation committee, conducting regular inspections, and running water audits help institutionalize these habits rather than treating them as one-off fixes. Premises ownership gives you the authority to drive all of this systematically. Now we shift focus to businesses that lease rather than own their premises. You might think tenants have limited options, but there is actually quite a bit you can do within your leasehold arrangement. Starting with green lease strategies. If you want to improve water efficiency, but your landlord controls the building infrastructure, use BCA's Green Lease Toolkit as your starting point. It gives you structured language to negotiate green schedule clauses directly into your tenancy agreement. When renewing, prioritize buildings certified under BCA Green Mark 2021, which signals a landlord committed to sustainability standards. For irrigation, shift toward drought-resistant landscaping. This reduces dependency on irrigation systems altogether, a simple but effective long-term operational decision. For toilet facilities, install private submeters so you can independently track water consumption monthly across key areas like cooling towers, pantries, and common toilets. Pair that with visible conservation posters to reinforce behavioral change among building users. On the management side, whether you own or lease, leadership must drive water conservation culture. Form a dedicated committee, run staff briefings, and circulate publicity materials consistently. Finally, do explore PUB's Water Efficiency Fund. It supports organizations in conducting water efficiency assessments and investigating recycling opportunities, and it is worth checking PUB's website directly for current eligibility and coverage details. The final stage of the water management cycle is about keeping the momentum going, monitoring what you have implemented, and continuously improving from there. Once your initiatives are running, you track actual consumption against your targets, record cost savings from lower utility bills, and identify which measures gave you the biggest impact. If certain areas are still underperforming, you adjust your approach. And if you surpass your targets, raise the bar, set more ambitious goals. Throughout this process, communicate your progress clearly to management and stakeholders, because demonstrating environmental commitment matters both operationally and reputationally. For further professional development, PUB offers the Water Efficient Building Certification and the Water Efficiency Manager course, both excellent resources for anyone serious about advancing in this field. And that brings us to the end of our water management journey. We covered 3 essential pillars: understanding Singapore's water landscape and why efficiency matters, measuring your consumption accurately using water balances and baselines, and then taking targeted action through reduction goals, recycling initiatives, and funding support like the Water Efficiency Fund. These are not just theoretical steps. They reflect exactly how real facilities engineers and sustainability managers approach water stewardship on the ground. You now have a practical roadmap you can apply. Once again, this is Teresa. Thank you for watching.